Thanks so much, everyone, for bearing with us for just a couple minutes while we work out some tech issues. I think it's very fitting that we are talking about tech and working through some tech issues as well. So thank you again for everyone jumping on and joining us, through Zoom or Facebook Live or probably eventually YouTube once this gets posted as well. So I'm Morgan Boykin. I am with SC Codes. And I have the awesome pleasure today of interviewing Blacks in Technology Columbia Chapter President, Miss Belinda McEachern. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about her before we start chatting with her today. Let me scroll back to her wonderful information. And for those of you who are new to SC Codes, new to who we are as an organization, a little bit of background. We are a free platform for anyone in the state who is interested in learning more about coding. So you can actually join our community, our platform, take free coding classes, get additional support with your journey throughout coding. So from your very first coding class all the way up to being paired with a mentor to help support you to and through your first coding job. We are here to be a resource for you. Again, totally free. Our website is www.sccodes.org. Would love for you to visit that after our wonderful presentation today and learn a little bit more about what we do. So another thing that we do on our platform is connect you with wonderful people in the community who are pushing the tech community forward. And so we have someone here today, Miss Belinda, as I mentioned, who is doing just that. And so we are excited to learn a little bit more about her, as well as learn a little bit more about Blacks in Technology Columbia, and pick her brain a bit for some insight into what is happening in the tech space, particularly in South Carolina. So info about Miss Belinda. Starts her bio, and I love this. I talked to her a little bit offline, just about what an awesome person she is and how she starts sharing about herself is that I don't want you to be impressed by me. I want you to be blessed by me as her personal motto. And it's a motto that she puts to good use professionally and personally within all walks of life. Originally from Greenwood, South Carolina, Belinda now lives in Blythewood, South Carolina with her husband, Danny, and 2 children. Belinda is truly an individual that epitomizes the essence of selflessness in leadership and understands the true meaning of a leader. She has had the privilege of holding a variety of leadership roles in her community, including in educational leadership, technology, cybersecurity, and volunteerism, all of those which we will talk a little bit more about today. She is the current chapter president for Blacks in Technology Foundation, Columbia chapter, which is the official chapter for the metro region. This chapter is growing and is a dynamic, vibrant organization for Blacks in technology, as well as holding the title of being a 503c3. The purpose of this group is to network, learn best industry practices, and to advance the information technology careers in our area. The goal and mission is to stomp the divide between Black tech workers and to fundamentally influence and affect change on an industry that has historically not sought equality between Black workers. The intent of Blacks in Columbia, or BIT Columbia, is to level the playing field through training, education, networking, mentorship, and the support of allies, partners, and most importantly, global members. So without further ado, I will introduce you to Miss Belinda, who is either on my left or right, not sure, but her smiling face is here to welcome you. So welcome, and thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Well, thank you so very much. I'm very honored to be here, and I am a longtime champion of SD codes and all of the wonderful things that you do within the South Carolina community. And actually, I became familiar with SD codes about 2 years ago when I actually myself I took part in some of the coding classes at the Richland County Library, and I
Awesome.
was just blown away with the professionalism and how much I could learn in like one afternoon, after work. And but SD Codes made that available to and totally free of charge as well.
Wonderful. Well, we are equally excited to have you here. And we'll start with just learning a little bit more about you. Would love to hear a little bit about, of course, your educational background, but your journey to tech, and particularly in South Carolina and eventually Columbia.
Okay. Like you stated earlier, I'm originally from Greenwood, South Carolina, from the upstate. Um, South Carolina, been here all of my life, done some traveling, but this is my home and I love South Carolina. Actually, in 1991, I um, was admitted to Benedict College, HBCU here. Um, that's where I received my bachelor's degree in art education, the teaching of art. Not only that, I just learned so much from attending an HBCU that I don't even have enough time to actually just illustrate all the things that I learned. But I minored in graphic design. But keeping in mind, I didn't really have an interest in teaching at that time because I'm really big on the arts and I love art and photography myself. So in my mind at that time, I didn't think that I could actually do art and teach at the same time. But I knew it was a concrete major as far as finding employment in the future. So I majored in art education. Well, long story short, after graduation, I went into the printing industry where I worked at State Printing Company. Actually, I worked in pre-flight and I did a lot of different things there. Loved it. Got to continue working on computers, also with photography and actually actual 35 millimeter film and actually stripping film and those things of that nature. Um, Moved on to the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control, where I worked as a graphic artist. Love that. So I got to do a lot and actually see my work in the community and health departments and so on and so forth. Um, Decided to continue my education. Actually, got my master's degree from Columbia College, another great institution in educational leadership, specializing in divergent learning. Um, Actually, then I moved on to the South Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice, where I was a graphic artist there as well. But I was asked to come in and to teach. I had my teaching degree and everything, but I was like, I don't know. But I decided to actually give it a try. And long story short, I taught visual arts and graphic communications for over 17 years there. And I loved every minute of it.
Wow.
So that's just a little short background there and little things in between there.
Wonderful. Awesome to, of course, learn a little bit more about you. But why I think a lot of us are definitely here and intrigued to learn a little bit more about is what is Blacks in Technology Foundation? I need to make sure I'm adding that part in the Columbia chapter. What is it? I know I shared a little bit, but what do you all do? And why is it such an important voice, especially now?
Well, you stated it earlier. I mean, we are stomping the divide, on a ecosystem that has not sought parity as far as the black tech worker. And so stomping the divide is the only way that we can put it. But plainly, we're leveling the playing field. And for our members, it's important because we're empowering them with practical tools and guidance to advance their careers. And with doing this, we're actually removing barriers to entry. We level the playing field through programs, resources that actually and effectively enable growth. Um, and actually, another reason that makes it so important, if you think about it, statistically, black people comprise only 3% of employees in the top 75 Silicon Valley tech companies, compared to 24% of the total workforce. Plainly put, why are we so high in numbers as far as consumers, but not as the actual creators or being
Right,
involved in the process? We
right.
want to change that whole philosophy.
Absolutely. And in the same vein, I'm curious, what do you see as um, issues that are unique to the Black employee in the tech space? Is there anything that you can point to that is a particular challenge just for people of color in this space?
Yes, and also I want everyone to keep in mind that blacks in technology, we don't just focus on African Americans in technology. We we incorporated with Latinx, LGBT. The list
Sure.
goes on and on for as underrepresented populations. We have single mothers. We have veterans and military dependents and spouses who are also underrepresented within the tech industry, and the list goes on and on. So we're actually a leader of champion for all underrepresented populations. But specifically to your question, my personal observation is where the problem lies is in this perceived gap in technology. And what I mean by that is when you hear that companies can't find qualified applicants from underrepresented populations, especially when you're talking about African Americans. Me personally, I don't believe in that there's any gap in qualified applicants. I believe that the gap lies in marketing and targeting. Where are you targeting for
Right.
these jobs
Right.
and providing the information? Where are you marketing? Are you marketing these opportunities within these underrepresented populations and the marketing and social outlets to which they reside? There is the gap there because if you're thinking about it, for the underrepresented population, by the time they reach the information reaches them, if it actually reaches them at all, their counterparts already have that internship. They're already working within that company. They're building those relationships. Therefore, they have that referral. So how is that person from the underrepresented population supposed to compete when there's this gap? But this person has, a leg up. So,
Right.
you know, either you're going to take yourself out and not apply, or you're going to apply and then you're going to be turned down, which, leads to, even worse things like self doubt. So that's my main factor in there is providing that knowledge because you don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that actually, I'll skip down a little bit in our discussion and focus on our learners as we are really interested and targeted in our approach to reaching learners on our platform who may be from underrepresented, underserved communities to include things like rural populations. So I'm curious what your advice would be to students who are looking to join our platform who may come from these communities. What's a bit of advice you could give them as they look to get started?
If you have the desire, go for it. Don't let anything stop you from, if it's not your dream or if you just have an interest, I still say just go for it and find as much information as you can. Network, network, network. Talk to people, listen to people, finding the information. And as far as targeting these areas, we need to find their outlets. Where are they receiving their information? Is it a certain social media platform? Is it a certain radio station? Is it certain events within the community where we can reach these populations to get them the information? Because at the end of the day, there lies the power, is in the information. Now, what they do with it is up to them, but we at least owe it to them to provide them the same information that we provide everyone else.
Absolutely. That's such a great point. Such a great point. So, in addition to our learners who come onto our platform, we have our volunteers who come on our platform who are professionals out in the field who are just looking to give back time, looking to share their expertise with our learners and walk hand in hand with them along their journey as they start as exploring what coding, what tech is, all the way up to a first job, as I mentioned before. So a little plug here, if you're listening and you're interested in doing that, would love to talk to you about doing that. But in the same vein of question, what would be your advice to those volunteers, particularly those who may be coming from backgrounds where they were a part of underserved communities? How would you encourage them, or what would you say to encourage them to give back their time?
Well, first and foremost, I would let them know just how important they are and how, appreciated they are within these communities. Because to put it plainly, persons from underrepresented populations, when you're approaching them about these different career options that are out there, if they can't see it, they can't believe it. And what I mean by that, if they can't see someone that looks like them, who has walked the same miles that they have walked, then it's almost unreal to them. It doesn't seem obtainable. So that is very important to get leaders and mentors from these same populations because they build hope. They inspire the younger generation to strive for that. Hey, you did it, so can I. And it goes on and on. And it's like giving back. I think that's just our duty. If you made it, no one made it anywhere by themselves. Someone
Right.
helped you. Give back. Reach back, pick someone else up.
That's awesome. I love that line of building hope. And I think truly at the heart of everything that we do at SC Codes, when we get down from the technical stuff, it is building hope in a new career, in a new interest, in a new opportunity for yourself and your family. So I love that line. You may have to take that, Miss Belinda. You have to take that one from me.
Okay. Hey, knowledge is power. Information is free. Yes.
Awesome. Well, zooming out a little bit from SC Codes, I'm curious, what do you think are some of the most important trends that you are seeing in tech right now? What's happening that's getting you excited? What are you staying up at night thinking about in the tech world?
Well, for me and for many others, it's AI, artificial intelligence. We're on the cusp of some very incredible things right now for its AI. And one thing that actually really got my wheels spinning, and I'm glad you mentioned keeping me up at night. I have been up the last couple of nights after I saw the documentary Coded Bias. Have you seen that by
I
chance?
have not, but I need to. Coded bias.
Coded Bias, and actually, it's available on Netflix, and actually
Okay.
PBS should be airing it sometime later this month or early next month. But basically, what it is it's actually it explores the fallout of a MIT Media Lab researcher. Her name is Joy. I may mispronounce her last name. Balowini, and she
Gotcha.
discovers that facial recognition does not see dark faces accurately. She was just doing a project, and she kept going and going, and she's darker skinned female, and the technology would just not pick up her pigmentation. So she decided to put on a white mask, and when she put on the white mask, ding, everything worked. So there,
Wow.
her journey began to push for the first ever legislation in the U.S. to govern bias and algorithms that impact us all, and it goes on to explore other various countries such as China, which has facial recognition everywhere. You can't even get a drink out of the vending machine without it scanning your face to make sure you are who you say you are. And
Wow.
then there are some other countries that actually use it for basically new age racial profiling, where there are these vans and trucks parked in the road, just similar to what we have, where we have the cameras that can take pictures of your tag if you run a red light. But these are actually recognizing your face. And if you look similar to someone in their database who has committed a crime, they will stop you, like on the road, or
Wow.
just pull you to the side, and then, have to discover if you're that correct person, which is actually violating so many different civil rights. So it really makes you think.
Yes.
We all have, Alexa in the house. We have all these
Mhm.
different devices. But have we ever, sat to think, we're looking, in, but is that piece of machinery looking back at us? And my theory is that, I sit down one day and turn on the television to look at a show, and the show's looking at me. So AI, most definitely. So there's some great things being done with AI, but at the same time, we have to be, cognizant of a lot of misdoings also with AI. So
Absolutely. That is super, super interesting. And I'm sure all of our tech folks on the call are equally as interested, or that has sparked their interest. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, watch that. Coded Bias. Please, if you have Netflix, watch it.
Definitely will do that. And that actually is a perfect segue into my next question of what are some things that you do to continue learning? So your own professional development strategy, and what do you suggest for members in your chapter or just friends in the tech space?
First and foremost, yet again, never stop learning. I'm constantly learning something new every day. My kids, they can tell you, it's like I'm on the computer. I have my family time, but I'm on the computer. When I'm on there, I'm not playing games. I'm not watching. I'm not binge watching. I'm learning new skills. And since COVID, a lot of programs, boot camps, and courses that used to be for profit or where they charge these astronomical amounts of money that were unattainable by most are now free. So why not take advantage of those courses? I participate in several different organizational courses. I attend Udemy courses. Also, I'm a part of the Cisco Networking Academy, where they provide unlimited amounts of courseware for at your own pace. As far as webinars, I mean, the whole gamut, tutorials, labs. Also, the organization Cybrary, where you can actually get a free account with Cybrary. And a lot of these future tech careers and current tech careers, you can actually learn the necessary tools to actually apply yourself to that next career move or that next job or that next opportunity for its entrepreneurship, for its cybersecurity, AI, DevOps. The list goes on and on. And like I said, there are so many different programs out there. General Assembly, and I could name many others. Me personally, I'm currently studying instructional design because it actually takes a lot of my prior knowledge and it just bolsters it to a whole new platform
Sure.
because I'm used to teaching, instructing, mentoring, but actually putting that together in a digital form where I can create trainings and lessons and then just broadcast them at will, but still keeping in line with the curriculum foundations of education so that they're totally effective and being able to analyze, engage their effectiveness. So yes,
Wonderful.
I stay
So
busy.
impressive, of course. And in that, I know, and I didn't get to this section in your bio, but we'll certainly share with our community that you are a part of a ton of organizations throughout the community that I'm sure add to that toolkit for you. So for our community out there who is listening and they're like, I think Blacks in Texas Columbia may be a great group for me. How can they learn more? What would be their first step in connecting with the organization?
Well, the first step is to go to our website. And I like to mention that membership is totally free, but the things that you get from the membership, you can't even put a price on because the price would be a number higher than I can fathom. So go to https foundation dot blacksintechnology.net, and actually I'll put that link in the chat
Okay,
along with some
perfect.
other links. So please go to our website, peruse the website, see all of the different things that we're currently doing. We're having career fairs each and every month. We also
Wonderful.
have partnerships with various Fortune 500 companies and startups as well. One in particular is Microsoft, where we have this new program. It's a mentor mentee program called Converge. And for our members, it's totally free, where you actually matched with a mentor from, it could be from Microsoft, Google, the list goes on and on. But they actually walk with you hand in hand throughout the entire process. And then they practice interviewing skills where you have the potential to actually interview for that company with a referral. So that's just one of the many programs that we have open right now. Yes.
Love it. Free gyms. These are awesome. And connecting with you or connecting with your website being that first step. So fantastic. Thank you for sharing that as well.
Yes.
And as I open the floor up to questions from either our audience via Facebook or our audience here in Zoom. Would love to hear just kind of your final thoughts, if you will. I know that's a popular thing on like talk shows, is you're giving your final thoughts. So things that we should be aware of, things that we can maybe take away or think on. Anything that you think is just important for us to know, particularly about your organization, but tech space in general.
Well, I would like to leave a note that Blacks in Technology Foundation is not just comprised of persons within tech areas. Sometimes when you hear technology, the first thing you hear is like, hey, I'm not in tech. So, it really wouldn't benefit me. But I don't want you to feel that way, because actually our entire audience is comprised of tech founders, business owners, CIOs, IT professionals, data scientists, UX, UI designers, programmers, directors, presidents, um, even entrepreneurs, which is a big platform for us, starting your own business. So there it comes educators, health providers. The list goes on and on. So don't let the word technology and tech hinder you from actually wanting to join, because there's something there for everyone, and there's no age restrictions whatsoever, because I believe as young as we can reach out to people, the better, so they can start formulating what they want to do. And also, I want us to make a conscious effort to stop asking children, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Mm,
Let's add, what do you want to create? What do you want to build? What problem do you want to solve? Because
that's great.
when we tell a child, what do you want to be? Or when we ask the child, what do you want to be when you grow up? It almost infers that they are nothing now. Because if you're telling me, or you're asking me, what do I want to be? The question for me is, okay, what am I now? So let's
That's great.
try to shift from that. And I tell all of my audience that, for the young population, build upon that. What do they want to create? What do they want to invent? What do they want to do? So that's a larger focus there. And also with Blacks in Technology, the foundation itself, we currently have 47 different chapters. We have 40 chapters in the U.S., and then we have 7 chapters abroad. Our newest chapter being Blacks in Technology Canada. So we
Oh,
have a
wow.
large outreach. So we're also looking for those international students and persons within earshot of this presentation here today. So yes, we're very open.
That is wonderful. And as you were mentioning that, one, as a new parent, am taking that and holding that close to think about that language that we're using with children. But also, as someone somewhat new to tech, even, I know that in working with our tech lead, Alex, I think he may be on our call too, that I often hear him say, we're solving problems, or that employers are always wondering or wanting to know, how do you problem solve? And so to think about reframing those questions into what problems do you want to create, I think just mirrors what is happening in the tech space. Is how are you creative? How are you problem solving? How are you making something better than when you first touched it? So I think that is awesome and a wonderful place for us to land. If we don't have any more questions, and I will definitely, on behalf of SC Codes, like to thank you for taking a couple of minutes out of your lunchtime to chat with us today. I know this will live on our pages in different spaces, so this information will continue to flow. And I thank you for sharing what you know with us. And thank you to our audience for taking a little time to lean into this conversation as well. We really appreciate it. And thank you so much, Belinda.
You are more than welcome. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm going to put my information in the chat. So, and I'm a very open door type person. So if you have any questions, or if you need some information or some resources, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. And I put my LinkedIn information in the chat. So thank you so very much, and thank you both, for having me here. So I appreciate SD Codes and all the things that you're doing. So this has been an honor for me.
Thank you so much. And to everyone out there, have a wonderful remainder of your lunch and a fantastic rest of your day. And we hope to see you back at SC Codes very soon.